Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're digging into a question that could totally change how you think about getting sick. What if you never had to sit in a waiting room ever again? Let's get into it.
Ugh, we've all been there, right? That moment your eyes flutter open and you just know you're sick. It's such a sinking feeling, not just because you feel awful, but because you know exactly what's coming next. All the hassle.
Yup, exactly. That old routine is just, a total grind. You gotta call out of work, somehow drag yourself out of bed, drive all the way to a clinic, and then you sit in a room with a bunch of other sick people, just waiting. And of course, the final insult, that surprise bill that shows up weeks later. But what if you could just skip that whole process? What if you could get a diagnosis and a prescription without even leaving your house? That's really the promise behind a new model we're looking at today. It's called ChatRx.
Okay, so how is it even possible to get a real doctor's diagnosis in like 10 minutes? Let's break down how it all works.
So the process basically mirrors a traditional visit, but it's just super efficient. First, you start a chat and just describe what's going on. Then an AI system actually guides you through the same kinds of intake questions a nurse would ask you. And then, and this is the key part, a real human doctor reviews everything, makes the diagnosis, and zips a prescription over to your pharmacy. And this is the most critical part. The diagnosis is not made by some algorithm. The source material really drives this home with a direct quote from the doctor who started the service. He says, "Not a computer, me, a real doctor with 30 years of experience." So yeah, that human expertise, it's the final crucial step. And what you get is really comprehensive. It's not just about getting the diagnosis. That one fee includes getting the prescription sent over, getting you a doctor's note for work or school if you need one, and they even throw in a pharmacy discount coupon to help you save on the medicine. Okay, so this all leads to the big question, right? The one you're probably thinking right now. How in the world can all of this cost just 25 bucks? I mean, it sounds way too good to be true. And you know what? It's a totally fair question. I mean, a typical urgent care visit can set you back 150 bucks or even more. So, yeah, $25 feels like there's got to be a catch somewhere. Well, the answer in one word is overhead. Think about it. Traditional healthcare is just loaded with massive costs. We're talking physical buildings, waiting rooms, receptionists, whole departments just for billing and insurance admin. The ChatterX model, on the other hand, is totally online. No buildings, it uses that AI for the intake, and it completely cuts out insurance billing. And this quote right here really gets to the heart of their whole philosophy. We're not cutting corners on care, we're cutting out the waste. So the savings come from getting rid of the waste, not from skimping on the medicine. So at the end of the day, it all boils down to this one number, $25. It's one simple flat fee. No wrestling with insurance, no copays, no weird mystery charges showing up in your mail 3 months from now. You pay your 25 bucks, you get treated. Period. All right, so we get how it works and we get how it's priced. So let's talk about what this is actually for. What kinds of sicknesses are we talking about here? Okay, so the service focuses on 39 really common acute conditions. We're talking about all that stuff that makes you feel absolutely miserable but isn't, life-threatening. Things like UTIs, sinus infections, pink eye, bronchitis, and strep throat, minor rashes like ringworm or athlete's foot, and yeah, even flu and COVID symptoms and cold sores. Basically, it's for all that everyday stuff. Okay, now this next part is super, super important, and the source is really clear about this. This service is absolutely not a replacement for emergency care. And just to be perfectly clear what that means, if you're having symptoms like chest pain, if you're having trouble breathing, or if you're dealing with a high fever in an infant, that is a real medical emergency. The only move there is to call 911 or get to an ER right away. So, okay, we've looked at the process, the price, and what it's for. What's the bottom line here? Why does a model like this actually matter? It really boils down to this simple, powerful summary from the source. Care that works, $25. Done. It's about providing effective medical care for a clear, affordable price with none of the usual hassle. Simple, direct, and finished. And that leaves us with one last big question to think about. I mean, if a model like this can successfully and affordably handle most of our common problems, the colds, the infections, the rashes, what does that mean for the future of the doctor's office? Could this really be the end of the waiting room for everyday sickness?